mic check. There you go. Hello, everyone. I was having a little bit of a problem with the microphone. Hey, Samir. Give me 1 second, guys. I need to double check something here. Okay. Can you hear me, guys? Yes. You can hear me. Perfect. Can any of you guys double check if everything is good with the microphone? Just want to be sure. Maybe in the comments. Just want to make sure that I'm not talking here like crazy with a little bit of echo. Yeah, the echo effects. Okay, let me put it on the screen here. It's good, perfect. All right. So, thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate that you joining here. This is a very exciting stream for me because this is hopefully um, a series that for me it's gonna become something really important because it basically follows through everything I have done for the past 10 years in the space. And I really want to help you guys trade better, understand the markets, and in general, have a better understanding of what trading is from the scope of waves and particles. So welcome back. If you're here for the first time, I'm Joe, and I'm the principal of Ikagi. It's basically a place where I teach the waves and particle system is and Ichimoku. Basically, is where we meet everything related to mathematical cycle theory, time price geometry, and basically the universal constants. Everything that govern every market we touch. So it's just like I tell you all the time, structure and flow. But today in particular, we're not also going to be opening a chart, but we're opening ourselves as traders. Because in reality, the cleanest setup in the world, just so you know, will not save a fractured mind. So before we can go to price, we go inward. So, and I would like to start to talk a little bit about the composed mind, which is basically, in my opinion, the right way for a trader. So, for example, Hosoda, he developed Ichimoku. He spent 30 years building the system before he ever published it. So 30 years, one man and one group of mathematicians, one method, no audience. And that's basically the spirit of Ikagi and the Academy. It's also probably what I would say the first lesson I tell students in trader composure, which is the market does not reward urgency, it rewards readiness. So the ancients in Asia understood something like really I think most modern traders forget, and is that mastery of the selves precedes mastery of the craft. So I would like to share with you really quick 4 pillars today that I carry into every session that I make or I get into as a trader. So I'm really having a hard time here with something. That stupid echo that I was talking about earlier. I don't know. So let me just move a little bit here. There you go. So the first one is the mind of no mind. In the Book of Five Rings, Miyamoto Musashi, he taught the swordsman who hesitate dies. Not because hesitation is slow, but because hesitation is attachment. Attachment to being right, attachment to the last trade, attachment to the P&L on the screen. So when the stop forms, basically you not deliberate. You do not negotiate. You execute the plan that was written before the market opened, or in our case, before the candle opened, because we're open 24 hours. So the plan is basically your sword, and the session is your duel. You don't think during the cut. So when you write your trade and you plan the night or the day before, once the candle opens, you're a soldier executing orders. You're not a strategist debating them. And that's basically one of the most important things that I like to teach students. So the second one is the shushing, which is the beginner's mind. So the Zen masters, they say the expert sees few possibilities and the beginner sees many. Every chart is new, every cycle is new. And the moment you say, I know what Bitcoin is about to do, the market has already begun to humble you. So bring no ego to the chart, bring observation. And this is something I've been talking in the past couple of weeks, if you follow me on Twitter, quite a bit, because I've been saying that retail and most amateurs think that trading is about prediction. That's why you see so many people on Twitter saying all the time, or on X, like the market is about to do this, the market is about to do that, the market will be here, mark my words. But it's not about forecasting or predictions. The market is about execution. Many students ask me all the time, what do you think is going to happen in a month? What do you think is going to happen in 6 months? What do you think is, yeah, I'm sharing a screen. I'm just sharing the placeholder. I'm not ready to show any chart yet. I'm talking it right now. So, and I always tell them the same answer. I don't think about what's going to happen. I don't think what the price is going to be in 1 week, 1 month, 6 months, 1 year. I just flow with the market and I let the market dictates what kind of trade I need to take. Because, like I said, I'm humble enough to understand that I cannot see the future. And by doing that, we create what you know as bias. So if you are here and you follow other traders out there, if you read other papers, if you follow anyone's analysis, get this. It doesn't matter what anyone says. Absolutely not a single person can see the future. So anyone that tells you price will be at X level on this date, or they love to say the market, the bull run is going to start in October or whatever, you can go ahead and dismiss that information right away, because it's just forcing you. And even this is even worse, because it's forcing a bias on your mind that is not even yours. So our job as a trader is to execute the trade based on the market conditions. That is it. The moment you understand that, that's the moment when you stop failing, because you're not forcing any outcome. You're not forcing your expectations, wishes, desires, fears, greed onto the market. Like I said, the moment that you think you know what the price is going to do, the market has already begun to humble you. So the third pillar that I want to talk about is the Bushido discipline, which is basically the samurai code applied to risk. So a samurai did not draw his blade for a flinch. He drew for a kill. So your capital is your blade. You do not deploy it on a flinch. You deploy it on confluence. And we know this, for example, because Sun Tzu wrote that every battle is won before it is fought. So the losing traders fight the market, and the composed trader has already won at positioning, at position sizing, at entry criteria, at the invalidation level before the trade is taken. So it is crazy, because in a sense you're anticipating the future without knowing the future. So for example, the way I do it is the way I like to do it, and it's the way it works for me, is that I only risk a fixed percentage per trade. I don't risk what feels right today, because I woke up and I felt bullish and I want to risk 100% of my portfolio, or maybe I wake up today being bearish and I only want to risk 1%. It doesn't work like that. So precisely these these tackles one word that I always talk about, which is discipline. Is in this sense of the Bushido discipline, is the samurai discipline is in the dojo, not in the duel. So you gotta understand that. And the last one is Kaizen, continuous small improvement. You you simply don't chase the perfect trade, and we go back to the beginning. We cannot see the future. So it's impossible for you to know. And for this, I'm gonna probably open the chart right now. Let's see where we are. Oh, the wrong screen. So we're here, and we're here. So let me use Bitcoin as an example here. So let's say I open a short here, and I want to scalp because this is a 1 hour chart. So maybe this goes to 48K. Who knows? From 80K. And that's going to be a perfect trade because you enter at the last known peak of this price action and you wrote it down to 48. But the reality is that you don't know if that's going to be the case. So this price can go up and break from here. We can get a rejection right at the level to stop hunt the people who enter here and then go down from here. I mean, there can be a million different iterations of the price action. So you simply cannot chase the perfect trade. Again, like the previous concept, you should already define, you should be defining that before you enter the trade. If you want to scalp, you trade on the 1 hour or the 5 minute. If you're a swing trader, you trade the weekly. If you're a long-term investor, you trade the monthly. But the discipline that you have, or the discipline that you're able to achieve in order to stick to that concept, is the discipline that is going to make you a winner or a loser. So one thing I want to tell you about the mindset, and it's from Marcus Aurelius, which is, I don't know, I always debate between Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, and when it comes to Stoicism, but one of my favorite things and concepts that he said is that you have power over your mind, not outside events, and that's basically what happens with everything in life. And if I want to summarize this stream into one single sentence and probably give you a good advice for life, would be that one. You cannot control anything that happens outside your biological self. The only thing you have control over is your mind. So when you realize that, you find strength and you find a power that very few people have. So in trading, you cannot and you will never be able to control the candle. The only thing that you can control is your plan, your size, the exit, the breadth, the cadence of your trade plan. So master what is yours and release what it is not. That's probably the best thing I can tell you ever. So I also want to talk a little bit, and I think that would be good for today. Another thing that I want to talk about is like I've been working for a little bit of time um, with BTCC as an exchange, and they are actually sponsoring this video today. I got to create a great relationship with them. I mean, if you're, I feel like every new day, every single day, there's a new decks around. But I do trade sex. I mean, it's what I feel comfortable with, and out of all the platforms I trade, this is one of what I trade the most. Recently, they lowered the fees, and they have a beautiful way to trade 250x high leverage, which is something else that I'm going to talk about here. So they have every single coin, every single token. They have tokenized stocks right now. And the most important thing is that the tokenized stocks are trading 24 hours now. So you can literally open and close positions of the stocks that are closed during the US session 24 hours a day. So it's pretty cool. That's recent. And another thing that I like a lot is that they have no KYC if that's important to you. You have the app and you can do everything. So I'm very grateful to have them as a sidekick in this project that I'm starting today, because this year is going to be massive for Ikagi. I'm launching probably in the next couple months at least like 4 products, and actually I'm really happy to talk about them. So one of them, it's a Kumo, which is an app that it's a really really cool project. You can see it here. A Kumo, basically what it is the automation with LMM and LLM and AI trained over months and months on the waves and particles theories for cycles, time, and Ichimoku. So it's just so dense and complete in the signals that I've been getting from the app during the testing process. It's just crazy and amazing. So I'm pretty excited. I'm still testing and polishing a few things. So it's gonna come out soon. If you want to follow the Twitter, everything is gonna be there. It's Kumo app, like that. Kumo, Qumo app. So I'm gonna launch a new service also for portfolio reviews for big capital. So there's a lot of things going on, but I will tell you little by little on the videos as we go, and 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 I tell you everything about it. So it's funny because BTCC, many people don't know this, been around like since 2011. So it's a 14-year history. They never had a security breach before reported since they launched. So, and in 2025, they they definitely I sit down with the core team, and they want to simply be the best centralized exchange, uh, and I think they're pulling off a pretty good job. So, like I said, they have leverage up to 500x, 250x if that's your cup of tea. I mean, they have USDT margin token forex futures. So you can trade forex, you can trade stocks, you can trade crypto, you can do trading mode with $100,000 USD practice balance, which is going to be great because that way you can trade your discipline before you risk a single dollar. So I mean, and they have over 10 million users across 100 countries. So it's a very solid. I'm going to share the link on my Twitter after this, and if you go on my link, you automatically will get VIP 4 level. And there are so many good perks that I'm going to work with them over the future. So that's a really cool thing I wanted to talk about. So LLM, that's an AI. That's a AI agent that I've been training for months to truly understand and pull off daily analysis and signals based on Ichimoku and the waves and particle system. As you know, if you're here for the first time, I started this journey in 2016 or under my personal account. And in 2017, I opened CryptoSess. It was a diary of all my research, but it has been quite a journey. The academy has been open for 7 years already. I had over 700 students across every single continent, like 100, I don't know, 200 countries or whatever it is. There's people from everywhere. And one thing I can proudly say is that satisfaction among them probably is like 99.99%. I can only remember only 2 people that were not happy with the system, and probably it was because their mind was somewhere else. But I mean, it's just amazing. It's proprietary because I created a few formulas that is the framework of what waves and particle is. As you know, I study and measure time, almost to the point that I almost trade time rather than price. Because if you see here, for example, and I think I shared this on the 4 hours. So the next 4 hour pivot for Bitcoin is, I think it's right here at 8 a.m. or at 4 a.m. Yeah, 4 a.m. Eastern time, which is where I am, is the next 4 hour pivot. So and I'm gonna tell you in 1 second why I trade time. So for waves and particles, the hit ratio for anything under the daily candle. I mean, daily 4 hour and 1 hour. It's probably around 88, 89% hit ratio. So on the pivots. And this is just crazy. I did a massive research on this, and major companies and people talking about cycles and dates, they have on average 55 to 65% hit ratio. And even on 70, above anything above 70% is unheard of. It's rare. So and this is a reality for waves and particles and the dates and the pivots. And if we go higher than weekly and monthly stuff like that, the hit ratio moves up back to 94, 96%. So as you can see, with that accuracy forecasting future candles, obviously instead of trading price, I trade time. So I have a pivot here, and I know this is a resistance, and I know, let's say, this is a major support. So the thing is, like, waves and particles also has a mathematical formula for the levels. And Ichimoku too, I do that. So it's a pretty simple and straightforward process. If by the time I get to the pivot and I'm at a resistance and I see weakness, then I know that almost certainly, well, 88% accuracy, that this candle is probably going to bring a downtrend, another move down. On the other hand, if I see price behaving really good at this support, and I see volume and I see all the indicators and the things that we want to see, and we reach to this pivot, then there's a very strong chance that this pivot is something that is going to bring the price upwards. And as you can see from the website is in the description, the new website, you have a part when I talk about the receipts for my calls over the years. I mean, I have predicted major dates like 2 years before they happen. So it's pretty crazy. But that's basically, in a very simple way, what the waves and particles is. But going back to the talk of leverage, because this is a very common question and information that I get. So one thing people don't understand when they start in trading and they have a really complicated time, you know, understanding, yes, is the difference between low leverage and big leverage. And I see people, I mean, sometimes I trade 10x, 5x, 2x, and sometimes I do 250x. So people go like, so I wish I could do 250x, because obviously what they are thinking about is how close the price is moving from their liquidation. And obviously, it's a recipe for disaster if you don't know what you're doing. But the cool part, once you understand leverage, is that there's absolutely not a single difference between 5x and 100x. It's exactly the same because, like I said, you're predefining your risk. So let's say you have $1,000 and you are on a trade and you only want to risk 10% of that. That means you want to risk $100. So it doesn't matter what you do. That's your hardcore stop. I don't want to risk on my trade more than $100, and that's my boundary. So what you need to do is you can play with leverage and capital in order to move your stop loss to a place where if you get invalidation, you lose $100 no matter what. So it's the same. So I have 4 examples here. They're different leverage, different capital allocation, and I'm always risking $100. So you have to have $1,000 of 5x, right? So, and I don't want to risk more than $100. Then my stop loss, and this is wrong. So if 5x, if you move up 1%, I lose 5%. So to lose, yeah, 2%. So my stop loss can be 2% until I basically get stopped and I lose $100 if the trade moves against me. So, but if I trade 500, I mean less capital with the same 5x, then the price can move 5%, and that would represent 25% of 500, which is $100. So as you can see, doing 5x with 1,000 or $500, either way, I'm going to lose 100 if I get stopped. The same thing is if I do 100x. The thing is that if I do 100x and I want to risk $100, that means that the price can only move 0.1%. And that's it. So that's a very, very, very tiny, small margin. So the chances are that I'm going to get stopped. So that means that if I want to have a little bit more of a 1% stop loss, there's no other way but to bring down the capital. So instead of doing $1,000 trade, I do $100 one. And if price moves 1% against me, then I will get stopped and I will lose $100. So as you can see, probably there might be an error here in the math, but because I did this really quick 5 minutes ago. But you can see the point. The point is, like, it doesn't matter whether you do 1x or 250x. So what matters is how much you want to risk, because this is going to tell you how much capital you are allowed to use and how wide your stop loss can be. As you can see, the stop loss here is 0.1%, 1%, 2%, and 5%. And all of them are risking $100. So this is the kind of play where you should, where probably someone who understands leverage should base the strategy, because now you can mix this. Maybe you do $100 with 50x, maybe you do $1,000 with 2x, and with that play, based on the confidence you have on the trade that you're taking, then you can play by being more aggressive or less aggressive. So let's do a whole real life situation. For example, here on Bitcoin, I was, there you go. So here at 64,400, which should be around 64,400. This was a support. This was a support that I've been talking about for Bitcoin since December 2024. That was the first time that I mentioned this. That means 2 years ago. I said Bitcoin's probably going to go there. It's probably going to bounce from there. So as soon as I see price respecting that support several times, I know that this is a place that has a good risk to reward ratio, because the price basically fell 50% from the top, right? So if this is a very strong support, it's a mathematical one that comes from waves and particles. It doesn't have anything to do with volume or candles or whatever. It's just a mathematical number. It uses a formula that is proprietary to the system. So if I know that there's a good risk to reward ratio here, maybe I can risk a little bit more than I want because it's an asymmetrical trade. You know what? You know that. So I know here that maybe I have the chance to go back to 120, and probably my stop loss could be at 60. So you can see here it's an 11-to-1 trade. So it's extremely asymmetrical. On the other hand, if I want to long here, it's extremely risky because it's obvious. Obviously, we are very close to a resistance. So you have all the way down here for a possibility after the price has been trending for 7-8 weeks. And the upside, well, the upside can be whatever. It can be here, can be here, can be here. But as you can see, the trade is not that asymmetrical. It's probably a 1-to-1, 2-to-1, or something like that. So being that the case, my risk, it just cannot be a huge risk here. It needs to be a low risk. So maybe I'm comfortable deploying more capital with higher leverage here. And if I want to long here, then I need to understand that I need to deploy less capital with less leverage in order to absorb any possible downside and invalidation of any potential upside to the future. So I want to stop here and to reset a little bit, have a sip of coffee. Yeah, even if it's almost 9 p.m. But you have any questions or anything before I continue? Good. What is that cute little dinosaur? That's amazing. How many people do we have here? I know, I'm curious about it. So, yes, just double check something here. So, good. Okay. Yes. Hey there, my friend Simon. Yeah, I'm gonna stream every week for now. Ideally, I think I'm gonna do it every Wednesday. And ideally, I think, I mean, depending on how many people subscribe, if you guys really like the content, I might ramp that up. I mean, I can go to a couple times a week. I can even maybe start streaming every day. I mean, to give a little bit of a brief market update, maybe 15-20 minutes when I talk a little bit about what happened the night before and what Bitcoin is doing. But obviously, you guys are going to determine that. So basically, how cool or how much you want it, how much you want it, etc., etc. But we will see. I mean, I'm starting right now. I'm really excited because I always wanted to do this, but I mean, I kind of was procrastinating on it. So I'm really excited. Thank you, Raya. I'm glad that you like it. Okay, a stochastic RSI. No, I know. No Fed rates. Okay, let's start the chart. So first thing here that I want to talk about is Bitcoin because obviously it's the pulse of the market, probably for everything else. I mean, if Bitcoin dies, total two, total three, others, everything is going to die. Yeah, of course, we're going to have outliers, and I will talk about that for a second. And if Bitcoin pumps, everything is going to pump. We all know that. So, in terms of Bitcoin here, I will obviously, I'm not going to talk about waves and particles because that's only something I only do for the students. But I can talk, and I'm happy teaching you guys about Ichimoku. So in Ichimoku here, on my last video when I was talking about it was I think it was a month ago. We were around here. I said on that video, it's on YouTube too, because I was talking about the Ichimoku settings, that the next resistance that we were going to have was going to be the Kumo here and the Chiku. And you can see that's exactly what's happening in the past couple days. So the Chiku reached the Kumo, and naturally that's going to act as a resistance for the Chiku, and in this case, the price. So that's why we're getting some sort of pullback. Another thing I told you guys was that this is not going to incur in a bull trend until the Chiku gets above the price. That's for once. And in Ichimoku, once the Chiku goes above the Kumo, you get a full-blown bull trend, which is what we got on the daily. For example, if we go to Bitcoin on the daily, you can see here, that the Chiku was fooling around here, but once it got free from the Kumo, the price was able to move handsomely to that area. So now this is a full-blown Ichimoku bull trend. You got a wide green bullish Kumo. The Tenkan is above the Kijun. The Chiku is out of the Kumo and is above the price. So technically, this is a bullish setup. And on a bullish setup, you always try to find exposure either on the Tenkan or the Kijun. But when you breach that, you start to see and get a weakness because, like every other system, there are invalidations and there are fake outs and everything. So if Bitcoin goes down here and it breaches a Kumo again, then that's not going to be good. That's going to be weakness. Obviously, we have a situation here that I have no doubt started to happen today. We have a situation here of escalator up. And we all know that always tends to resolve with an elevator down. So be mindful of the resistances. Right now, a main resistance for waves and particles is at 82,100. So that's the main resistance that we have right now. And we had the last daily pivot we had for the system, which was shared on the report for May, was on the 10th. You can see why that was a pivot. That was the last day Bitcoin pump. And from that day, price started to trend down. That's why I told you I trade time. So right now, I'm waiting patiently to see what's going on with this trend. Like I said, this is not the place for me to long with crazy capital of high leverage because those positions belong to me from ancient times, which feel like 2 months ago was ancient times, but I made sure to load this. So what this is what this means to me is like maybe I can take profit here and I can even start a short as a hedge to these positions that I amass from 61 to 64. And then even if I wait for the price to get under the Kuma, let's say I get here at 74K, I would be in really good profit because I would be closing a trade that I open and I average down dollar cost average from 61 to 64. And on top of that, I'm going to be having an edge on a short. So this is all kind of the strategies and things that you can do with Ichimoku. So like I said, we don't know the future. We don't know what's going to happen. There are many things at stake. We are not under over the water at all. I mean, we can get into a very crazy, long ass term accumulation, like a Wyckoff type of thing when we do this and we start trending in 2027. I mean, we could do a cup and handle here and Bitcoin pulls up soon. Maybe we have a double bottom and we go like this. Maybe we can have an inverse head and shoulders. Bitcoin loves to end bear trends with inverse head and shoulders. We go to 50K, then we go like that, then we go like this, and then we start a bull trend. I mean, there are many things that can happen. That's why whenever you see someone telling you the bottom is going to be in October, this is where the bull market is going to start, that's bullshit. They don't know. They simply don't know. We just follow the trend. We understand the structure and we flow with the price. That's what we do. As simple as that. So going back to the monthly, that's what's going on right here. And that gives you a pretty cool understanding of the aspect of time, which is something very, very, very few people actually understand and use. So some people, some are astrologers, they understand astrology and they use astrology for the charts. Some people use like fractals, which I think is one of the worst things to do as a trader, as an analyst. Some people do GAN, but whatever. I mean, I do waves and particles. You know that. It's a set of formulas that I created, and they work for me. So give me 1 second because I lost my phone and I need to check something. Anyway, so this is where we are with Bitcoin right now. This is a resistance. So we need to wait. We need to wait to see what's going on here. I'm going to teach you, I'm going to show you an example. For example, Pepe, I think Pepe broke the key. Yeah, you see here. So in Ichimoku, you see the Chiku, it's out of the Kumo. The Kumo is green, price is out, Tenkan and Kijin is out. So you're like, okay, I'm longing the Tenkan. Okay, I'm longing the Kijin. But look at what happened now. Price broke the Tenkan and price broke the Kijun, and now it's facing resistance at the Kijun. So if this keeps falling and it gets into a deeper correction, then next level is a Kumo for support. And if price loses a Kumo, then obviously you're looking at something like this. I've seen this many times happen with Ichimoku. So instead of just going crazy, like I said, the best way, at least the best thing that I can tell you right now, is just to flow with the chart and understand what are the real core levels. Find a way, I don't know if you want to use volume profile or candles or whatever it is that you do, but find a way to find reliable levels and try to patiently wait for the trade to come to you in order to risk as little as you can. Because this game, like I said, has two core rules that I will never break in my life. The first one is, it's not a, like I said, it's not a game of prediction, it's a game of execution. And the second one is not a game about making profit. It's not. People think they're trading to make profit, but in reality, profit will come along if you learn how to protect your capital. So cutting losses effectively is 100 times better than forcing profits. Because if you always, people always tell me like, when was the last time you lost a trade? You lost money on a trade. And if I'm 100% honest with you, the last time I lost like a big chunk of money that truly hurt my gut or demised my portfolio in a meaningful way, I think it was in 2020. So that means 6 years ago. And it's not because I'm Nostradamus and I can predict the price. It's just because whenever I get into a losing trade, whenever I get the invalidation that I'm looking for, first of all, I'm already know how much capital I'm willing to risk. So I know if I have $1,000 and I only want to raise $100, it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter even if the chart is going to stop me and right there it goes back up. If my plan is to get a stop at that level, because I'm losing the $100, I'm gonna get stopped at that level, and then regroup, think about the structure, and then get into a new trade. Maybe that day, maybe the next day, maybe in a week. But it's more important that you truly learn to cut losses fast. Because if you don't let the market take money from your portfolio, from your capital, then automatically you're going to make money. For example, there's on the Kumo app, there's an Ichimoku. One of the tools is an Ichimoku. Oh my God. It's a signal based on Ichimoku. And the signal is only 25% accurate. The hit ratio for that signal is 25%. However, when the trade is right, it almost always does 8 to 10x profit. So what that means is that even if I get stopped 3 out of 4 times, if I carefully define how much I'm risking on every trade, that means that I'm going to lose very little those 3 out of 4 times, but the fourth, I'm going to make 8 to 10x. So if I learn to cut those losses fast and I have $1,000 and let's say I long and I get stopped, I long and I get stopped, I long and I get stopped, and I end up losing, I don't know, $150, it's okay. I have an $850 left. But then it's gonna come one when it's gonna be right, and I'm gonna do 10x, and I'm gonna close a trade at $8,000 with $850. So, like I said, another one of the concepts I want to share today is that always protect your capital, cut your losses fast. Don't allow the market to take money away, because the only reason that it's doing it is because you're not being disciplined. You're not being disciplined because you are being lazy, basically. I mean, you have fear the price is going to go up if you close a trade. You're hopeful. Basically, that's one of the biggest problems people get into. They hopeful the price is going to reverse, and they go like, okay, I'm gonna long here. So price goes down there, and then oh, it's gonna go back up, and it's gonna get into a bull trend. But price just go back up a little, and then it goes down, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna. By the time they realize that they are 99% down on a trade, is when they finally decide to close, and that's the classic crypto Twitter selling the bottom, basically. So it's way 100 times easier recovering a 5% loss than it is recovering from a 99% loss. So do that your probably your biggest and most important um, diligence to understand and enforce as a trader. Mm-mm. No. So the app, it's going to have 2 sections. The app in total, I think, has right now 9 different strategies. So actually, the app is going to have 3 sections that are free. I think I can show you. So what we go here to the new website. So you have, give me 1 second. So you have here the Kumo app. So you have, these are, this is another thing that is rare because I did a lot of research. Almost not a single service of strategies and signals share their R numbers. So there's a tab on the app that you're going to be able to see it when there is the full spectrum of the R numbers for every single strategy right there in full transparency. So you will be able to see which one are better, which one are more likely to fire. Some of them fire a couple times a month because they are very strict. Some of them fire several times a day. I mean, it depends, but you will always have on the performance tab the current numbers for every single strategy. So the app is going to have 2 options. You're going to have 3 strategies that are included for free. So you just go there, create your account, and you will be able to see the daily brief every single day when the when I push like a, it's gonna be a brief with 18 sources, all with their individual APIs, and it's a summary of everything that happened the day before. And the coins that are moving, you're gonna get a pulse. It's gonna be really cool. So there are 3 strategies that are free, and if you want to unlock the other ones, then it's a monthly membership. It's gonna be $79. There you go. These are all the strategies. You have double waves and particles, Ichi, KDM, Kodama. This is pressure. This is Prism, Phoenix, Reco. So every one of them is thoroughly explained. This is a daily brief, and it's just amazing. Let me see. For example, Kumo app on X here. I shared the recent ones. Here, for example, I got a signal for long on the Reco tab 16 days ago at 13 cents. And exactly that day, after that day, prices started to go up, and it went up all the way to 24 cents. So they're very, very reliable. This is another one for Sui, actually. Sui was like, I don't know, like 3, 4 days ago, and it was at 89, and it was a PRS long. And there you go. It was just a classic Ichimoku setup. Right the next day, boom, it went up. And this is old because I think the price went like to $2 or something like that. So those are some of the examples that you can see. This is another one for Ondo, the same thing, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And it's based on this one wasn't based on Ichimoku. So you get the Tenkan Kijun levels, the future Kumo, everything. And you see right there, the signal was right here, right when we broke the waves and particles support, and then boom, it had a massive spike. So the Kumo, the app is amazing. And I keep working on it every day to make all of the things really cool for you guys. So going back to Bitcoin to talk a little bit more, let's talk about total. For example, total 2S, because our alts is the same thing. If we go to the weekly here, you see this is different to the Pepe chart that I showed you guys. Total 2, it's actually bouncing from the Kijun. So that's great because that's what you want to see on a bull trend. And you can see the Chico here is actually above the price. When you go to the weekly, that makes sense because you can see the resistance on the weekly is a little bit higher. You can see the resistance is like around this area. So basically, this chart has still the chance to push maybe 1 or 2 more candles until that resistance. So that there might still be some life for alts. I mean, if some of them are weaker, for example, I was talking about Ripple a couple of days ago, and if I go to the daily, you can see here, Ripple got out of the Kumo, but then it got inside yesterday. So it sucks basically. It's a little bit complicated. However, there are good signs. These are early signs. The Kumo is green here. The Chico is it wants to get free of the Kumo. The price is here. Tenkan is above the Kinyo, which is bullish. So there's still chance for Ripple to push, and do some movements here. Even if Bitcoin moves sideways or even goes down, because that's why you need to understand what every chart is telling you. Another Sui or talk about I shared I kid in April at least I shared like 100 different alts on my Twitter, and every single one of them went up like crazy, and these were all based on the Kumo app, and others based on waves and particles. So it's a really good thing. It's a really cool thing. It's very reliable, and obviously there is a red tape here. It's an app for traders. So don't think for a second that you're gonna get an app that is gonna tell you like buy here, sell here, stop loss here, because it's not that kind of app. It's an app that is gonna fire signals based on the tools from the academy, and it's aimed to tell you, hey, this is a potential setup, this is a validation level. Now what you need to do is define by yourself what I talked about earlier: the risk, the capital, depending on the structure, depending on the context of the chart, something like that. So it goes like that. If we go to USDTD, for example, to see what the dominance is doing here, let me just get rid of these lines 1 second. Let's go to the daily, weekly. So you see weekly here. Um, Price is still bullish on the Kumo. Now the Kijun is going up, the Tenkan is flat. So what this is giving you here is weakness. But even though it is weak and it can definitely go down and bring us way more profits, this can also go up to retest certain levels. Maybe it goes up here to the Kijun. That will make crypto go down. So, I mean, it's about finding the context to understand where to get risk and where not to get risk. So, for example, here there was a clear intention for this chart to go down right there on all of these rejection candles, and you can see here the lack of balance on Ichimoku, how far the Tenkan was from the Kijun. So that was all screaming long. That's why I was on Twitter in March, like buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy alts, and I was fighting bears left and right. Every single bear calling 40K, 20K, because the chart, it was just simply telling us, hey, listen, I'm gonna go down in this case for the dominance. If it is go down, Bitcoin goes up, and that's exactly what happened. So as you can see, in a few words, because I want to wrap this one up, is you follow a very clean, simple, straightforward framework. And if you are able, like Marcus Aurelius said, to control your mind, to be composed, to be patient and disciplined, literally you don't need 100 million indicators. You don't need to go and check the alpha, delta, what kind of market makers are selling this or that. I mean, it's just the more variables you add into the equation, the more margin you're going to have as a human to make errors. So I'm a big proponent of simplicity and minimalism. The less variables that you have, the more chances that you have to be accurate and to make good trades. But like I said, you need to learn first how to manage your risk, how to come up with a plan, how to define before you take the trade the things that you are trying to accomplish with the trade. But I'm gonna leave that to another stream because now we need to talk. If you do a plan, the people, the jumpers, people who get into a trade on the weekly, trying to swing trade for a few months, and then they start to babysit the chart of the 1 hour, and they go crazy mentally trying to manage a trade on the hourly, and then the opposite. You got people that are scalpers and they get into the 5 minute chart, and then they're looking at the weekly to see if they need to hold it trade like for a year. So you need to develop your strategy and your plan based on the trade that you want to make. So this was more didactical and educational than anything else, this stream in particular, because it was an opening to all of the things that I'm offering you guys, to all of the things that I want to do, to what Ikagi is becoming. It's certainly, I talk about January in Twitter. I mean, this is a year for the academy, and it's gonna grow to crazy levels. So let me see if you have any important question. Love you too, Owl. Spot only. Good. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. Oxer, take a look at Ripple, Fed rates, this and that. I don't. But another important thing, the chart is so real to us, students of waves and particles, that I don't trade fundamentals at all. I haven't traded a single line of headline or information or news related to fundamentals since 2019. Not even once. Not a single date, not a single president, a headline, war, news, whatever. The chart is always going to tell you where it wants to go way before it moves. So you just need to pay attention, remain composed, stay disciplined, stay patient, and observe. Observe as much as you can. Believe me, if you are mindful and you are composed and you are paying attention, the chart is going to speak to you and it's going to tell you where it wants to go. Discount for Ikagi, just yeah, I'm always taking students. Yeah, I'll share a discount with you guys. I mean, that one ended like on Sunday, but I can take a few more students for this month for May. I'm gonna activate after this stream. I'm gonna activate that. Use Signal 11 on the website. It's let's see, you go right here, IO, you go to the store, then you go to the course. Here you have everything that you're gonna learn. Every single thing is explained thoroughly. This website I launched last week, so it's everything. The whole model, what you're gonna learn, how to use it. You got receipts here, for example. You have all of the receipts using the system, like what was the call, what was the outcome, every single time, what was the chart saying, what was the date, everything. So you go there. You can, if you want to ask me anything, you can always DM me on X, and then when you if you click enroll, it's gonna take you to Stripe. You put your code there, Signal11. Right now it's not active, but I'm not gonna activate it afterwards. Let me see. Yep, it's not active. I'll do that after we're done with this. So, and keep an eye on this. You can follow the Twitter, the X, um, oh my God, profile for the app. It's Kumo app, and I'm gonna be launching that. I don't know. I think a week or two max. What I want to make sure this is ready for the next bull run. And that's something that I want to tell you right now. Just keep your money. Do not give away to the chop. Do not give away to delusional ideas. Keep your money as close to your chest as you can, because I guarantee you that the bull run that it's gonna come after we are out of all of this mess that we're into right now is gonna be something that you have no idea. I mean, it might be in 2027, it might be in 2028, it might be this year. I don't know when that's going to be, but it's gonna be something crazy. I'm talking about, if total is like $1 trillion, I'm talking about 10, 15, $20 trillion for total. So this is a time we plant seeds, and you plant seed by having a strong framework, a strong set of tools. It doesn't have to be waves and particles. It could be Ichimoku, it could be Elliott waves. But make sure you do two things. You invest your time and you educate yourself on the charts accordingly, and you protect your capital. Because by the time, the market is going to do everything it can to wreck people, and big money is going to do everything it can to get to take your Bitcoin out of your hands, like taking candy from a kid. So protect that, guys. That is probably the best thing I can tell you right now, because when the time comes, believe me, it's going to be something epic. So remember, if you use, I'm gonna share my code too on X in a few minutes for BTCC. I mean, it's such an amazing experience, like I said, and there are many perks coming with them. I'm really happy. So there you go. I think I cover everything I wanted to cover, and we talk. I see there are a couple more questions there. You lose money to start fresh. 5K is a good start. You should have saved more for. No, I mean, you can start with $100. I've seen people turn $100, and I'm not talking about trading shit coins and you do 100x in a day. I've seen people start with $100, and in a few weeks, with dedication and discipline, turn that into 5, 10K, 20K easily. I mean, it's just all about having a good framework to trade and be disciplined about it. I mean, obviously, the more capital you have, the easier it is, because you have the power to just get into big trades with not that much risk or without leverage, in order to grow that and compound the profits. But I mean, you can start with whatever. Do you day trade BTC? Yeah, of course, I day trade BTC. It's the only thing that I day trade. So for alts, I mostly do swing trades, but like that means like literally buy here and sell here. That's what I do for alts. And it's mostly on the weekly. So basically the swing trades, buy here, sell there, buy here again, sell here. So just the big swings is what I trade with alts. But for Bitcoin, yeah, I do every single day. I'm trading Bitcoin. Actually, my last trade was opening a short right here last night. I opened one here. I'm gonna be honest, I opened one right there at the top, but then when the price was here, I chicken out and I literally took profit, like I don't know, like 1% of profit, because I thought it was gonna go up. I fell into the trap. Price was above the Kumo. Kumo was green, Tenkan and the Kiyon and everything. But when I saw this candle and I started to see the underlying structure, I was like, no, this is gonna fall further. It's gonna break everything. So I get into a really big short last night. So you can see now that Chico is getting into the Kumo. So now what I'm looking at is like this main resistance right here, which is sitting at 80K basically. So if we're able to break and trend above that again, then I can see Bitcoin in a continuation right now. If we fail to break that level, I think I see Bitcoin easily going to 77K. So that's the next level that I'm looking for. So yeah, I day trade Bitcoin. That was the answer to that question. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Um, can we copy trade? I don't do copy trade. I don't do copy trade because for the same reason I don't do signals. I don't even do signals for the students. I strongly believe that trading is an individual endeavor because not everyone is the same. Not everyone has the same mindset and the same emotional control. Not everyone has the same goals. Not everyone has the same strategies. So to me, it is pointless just to follow someone. And I mean, it's such a beautiful craft that my goal is to help guide and teach people how to fish for themselves because I think that's going to build long lasting wealth down the road more than just simply tell someone buy here, sell there, or copy what I do. And besides, like I said, I'm by nature, I'm impatient, I'm very passionate. So sometimes I'm a, like I said, I'm a top tier elite analyst. I'm a regular okay trader. So and it's because of that. That's the reality of it. So I would never, you know, submit someone to my mishaps as a trader. Although I have very few nowadays. I mean, the past couple of years, every major leg Bitcoin had, I have called way beforehand to the T. But still, I mean, the point is like I want to spark curiosity and people to learn how to trade by themselves more than copy trade me or give signals. I don't do that. Yeah, I understand. Even it's a resistance. It's hard for me to position. Need more discipline. Why is it? Let's Indra. Why is it hard for you to exit the position? Are you at a loss? Is that Bitcoin? Yes. Well, I hold very few odds long term. I only swing trade alts. I don't invest on alts based on technicals or fundamentals. I literally is like I did with Zcash. So if you have been here for a while on my Twitter, I loaded Zcash here because it was the bottom, and I give the signal of $40, and I close everything at $740, and that's it. That's what I do with alts. I don't invest long term. I don't care who's buying it. I don't care who's promoting it. I don't care about any of it. The only coin that I invest for the long term, and I will invest ever for long term, is called Bitcoin. That's it. I don't. For the rest, is swing trades. Teach a man to fish. Yeah, I mean, the chop is the most profitable aspect of a chart because, for example, let me tell you this right now. So 90% of the time, the price either goes bear or sideways. Only 10% ever of the time, the price goes up. That's it. So you only have a tiny, tiny, tiny minor window of candles that are going to literally get into a bull trend. The rest is going to be sideways and bears. So if you have the ability, for example, right now, on the major scale of things, I think the range, this is what I call the waves and particles range. I think is like this. So this is what I call the trader's paradise because it's pretty straightforward. So obviously this is a big time frame, so it doesn't serve the purpose, but you can take this to any, actually, let me do it on a small time frame. So if I'm here, right, and well, whatever system you use, I have waves and particles, but let's say we have a range here, right? So what I'm gonna do is like, once that range is defined, I'm just gonna short here, always shorting here. Why? Because if it breaks down, I'm exposed to a big, massive trade. On the other hand, I'm always long in here because if it goes up and it breaks, I'm gonna be heavily exposed. But that's it. This is a trader paradise because you short here, you long here, you short here, you short again here, you long here until boom. That's how I give up, and then you keep riding the trend. So this is the hardest to do because we are wired to always see bull and bear. Because if you see people talking on X, they are either always saying the price is about to die or the price is about to moon. No, like in their heads, for those analysts, that's the only thing the price does. But in reality, that the price does mostly this. And this is where you make the money. But in order to do this, you need to have the mindset of, setting a plan. I'm buying here, I'm selling here, I'm shorting here, I'm closing here, I'm longing here, and you repeat that over and over. So you can make actually way more money trading ranges than bull trend. Bull trends are easy, like the saying goes. I mean, everyone is a genius on a bull trend, but it's having the ability to short bear trends and to trade the chop. It's what really makes money. But you need to have a framework and you need to understand the market structure in order to do that. Well, that's why I'm releasing so many options for people to get an approach to waves and particles. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Waves and particles is extremely rare. The value in terms of knowledge is at least 10 times of what it is right now. That's how rare it is, that's how good it is, that's how crazy it is. And it's a system that only works for trading, but it works for your entire life in many ways. It's a revamp and a complete rewire of your mindset. But I know it's expensive, but it's worth every penny. Like I say, it's worth way more than that. But what I'm doing is like, that's when I started to write the monthly report. The monthly report, it's going to be $33. And you get everything I'm looking at the markets for an entire month in advance, ahead of time, for $33. Then I'm going to release the Kumo app, which is, like I said, the three main strategies are free. And then you have a subscription to unlock all the strategies for $79 a month. Then you have the option to be on our Discord. The Discord is $260 a month, and I'm basically streaming. I'm gonna start streaming every week there. I used to stream more often, but I don't like to stream that much because it creates noise and bias. But I'm gonna start streaming like this every month. And on Discord, you get basically, I'm on Discord 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I'm never out of Discord, and I'm updating the guys every single day about what's going on in the markets. I mean, be careful here. Price is about to go down. Price is about to go up. So you get an approach to waves and particles in the sense that I'm always sharing what is going on the market from the lens of waves and particles. You might not know how to fish, but I keep a good update on the guys every single day of what's going on. So as you can see, ideally, like I said, my goal is to teach people, but not everyone can afford the system. But you have different avenues when you can approach the system without breaking the bank. And I'm telling you, I mean, all of this, they pay by themselves with the trades that and the, because we don't only make money with trades that go positive, we also make money by staying on the sidelines when the price is about to go down. That's exactly what happened in October. In October, when we had the major breakdown of Bitcoin, you gotta keep in mind that this is a bear trend that I called back in June, July. So I basically spent 3 months building my shorts and building my positions and closing alts and everything until this started to roll down. So basically, all of the students and the members, they well knew far in advance to get out of the market at 126K. And we started to deploy money again when Bitcoin hit 60K. So you not only make money when price is going up, you always make money when you understand when to stay out of the way of the bears, or when to scalp, or when to short. Um, so yeah, that's why I'm releasing all of these things for every type of person that I can have. For example, another thing that I'm releasing very soon, and I'm gonna talk about it here really quick, is the bespoke. So bespoke here, if you look at it, it's just a, there you go, by application only. This is a very particular thing. This is a full, complete one-on-one yearly or quarterly review of portfolios for big players and whales. I mean, they need to have at least 100K in capital, and it's going to be only 26 lots per year. So what I'm gonna do is, like, you can see here how the whole, you can see here if you're interested. It's just gonna be everything in the framework of Ikagi and the system. So you read a year inside Bespoke, and everything. This is a 10-minute read. You can read everything that's going to happen. So basically, we get the call, and you tell me everything that you have in your portfolio, and I'm gonna come up with a full entire report, like areas to buy, areas to sell, the important dates, what's the structure, better options. Like, and then I'm gonna that we're gonna do on one on Zoom when I guide people on the 30-50 page report on their portfolio, and in ways that we can optimize those investments and how they can probably maximize the return on the positions that they have. So this is probably catering to a different type of persona, maybe some whales that don't want to trade, or maybe they have a lot of capital and inheritance or something like that. They're not quite sure where to put that. So everything is going to be framed within the system. And the most important aspect, like I said, the dates. So I can tell them literally, I mean, this is good to buy in July, but you want to make sure to sell in November, or exactly the week of the second week of October. You got to be careful, because that's probably a time when things are going to roll over. And this is all backed up by the theory of the waves and particle system. So like I said, I'm just trying to create as many tools as possible so it's palatable to every type of trader. Maybe some people can't afford the course, but they can buy the report or something like that. So you can probably try to get the best that you can from the different tools that Ikagi is providing right now. The course is the best, score is the best. Doesn't go to the score of the app. No, 5K give you, you're asking, so 5K gives you lifetime access to the Discord. You don't pay anything else. The app is a different type of product. The app, it's not for, a lot of people think that because they're paying the course, they're gonna have access to everything that I'm gonna launch forever, but it's not like that. I mean, where you're paying the course, you're paying the tuition for the course and the lifetime access for Discord. So either way, you're not gonna need either the app or the monthly report, for example, because you know how to scan the markets, you know how to trade the markets if you're a student of the system. But it's only that. It's the entire course and lifetime access to Discord. That's what the students get when they sign up. So worth every penny. Dennis, thank you so much. I appreciate that, my friend. 260 versus the 4800 one. Well, it's just that when you get into the Discord for 260 a month, you're just on the general area looking at my updates, and that's it every day. But when you sign up for the course, I teach you everything I know and every little secret on the book for the waves and particle system. That's what I do. And you learn, like I said, to trade by yourself. You will literally know and understand how to measure time, how to use the geometry, how to understand the structure and the different types of cycles the price can get into, and all of that. So let me see what else. Monthly report is always the first of the month. It's always the first week. Sometimes I release them like around the 25th, the 26th, the 27th. It depends. And other, I think the other day I did it on the second and the third of the month. But I try to be as close to the first day of the month as possible. It's going to be every month. You can see, I started that in July. July last year. It's been wow. Time flies. Mm, yeah, there you go. That's here. So you can see, and I love this because I put all of the, there's some testimonials from people that have bought it in the past. Oh, what are the covers? There you go. These are all the covers of all of the reports that I've launched since July 2025. So they're pretty cool. They're pretty awesome. I love them. The last one was this one here for May. The April one was crazy. The dates and the forecast, everything was going to be up. I mean, it was really cool. Being honest, your total portfolio is 6K, selling everything right now, starting from scratch. I never traded on the spot. Well, if you have a 6K portfolio, I would probably, what I would do is like try to find a way to learn Ichimoku. You don't even have to pay me for that because I have a cool video explaining Ichimoku, a couple of them. Or you can join the system, the Discord for maybe a month or two. And if you, but more than joining the Discord, it, like I said, is doing the work to develop a disciplined, patient, and curious mind of observation. I mean, if you want to be a trader, if you really want to be a trader, and probably you can double or triple that amount of money really quick, and then you can join the course, or it depends. But you need to define what you want to do. The most important thing is that you know yourself. Temenashe, basically. If you don't know who you are, if you don't know what you like, if you don't know how you behave in the face of complicated situations or hardships or the good times, then it's going to be hard for you to know what's the course of action that you need to take in order to act accordingly. So you need to know yourself, what you want, what your goal is, and that way you can, develop a good strategy and a good plan to reach that goal. That's it. Simple as that. You bought I bought the report yesterday, beautiful and professional. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, that's a new layout. I until April I had an old layout, and in May I started to work way deeper on the analysis, and I wanted to be more clear about the this the data and the recommendations and everything. So, okay, guys, I'm gonna leave you guys now. It's been an hour and a half. I really truly enjoyed this conversation. I hope you take a little bit. I'm gonna try to get online again. I don't know if this week, even today is Wednesday, maybe Friday or Saturday. If not, I'll be online again next week. And now that you have the intro to what Ikagi is and all of the things that I'm doing, then I'll happily go through over some alts that have good potential, maybe something that it's probably better to stay away from it. This month, I share on Twitter. I mean, Pengu was crazy. I shared Pengu in March, um, like around here on the 29th, and rode all the way up to there. We sold there. Wow, that's a big drop on Pengu. That's crazy. See, a little tip for you. This Kijan here pointing down is telling you that this is a bearish momentum. Actually, now that I look at the chart, there is a very high chance that these are three black crows. So three black crows, we retest at some point the formation, and then it goes down deeper. So maybe it retests the Kuma on this support here, maybe it breaks that, and then it goes back down, like I said, to do a longer term something. So but that's something that experience is going to tell you. That's very nasty. Wow. I'm going to short this actually. You see? That's a good can. Whatever this should go up. Maybe retest the top of this candle. Maybe retest around the middle of this one, somewhere like that. This is a decent short. You see, it's a good risk to reward ratio because it went up a lot. So now you can get into a short here with a nice risk reward ratio. Maybe I mean, the stop loss could be above this candle, because if it breaks above that candle, that means that formation is invalidated. And the target, the target could be here, the support. This already is almost 4 to 1. That's a great risk to reward ratio. I try to get into trades that are at least 3 to 1. So this is 3.71 to 1. And if it goes down, we're talking about 8 to 1. So this is a good opportunity here. We wrote ton. That was a crazy trade too. We wrote all of that, closed that right there, because that was a major waves and particles resistance. You can see it right there. We have such an amount of crazy and unbelievable trades. One that I took yesterday, if you want to know also something to look forward, it's Zcash. Zcash. I shorted with Bitcoin Zcash here yesterday. I don't think this is going to go back up again, but it might. Right now it's inside the Kumo, so it's tricky. It's not a full bear momentum. So for that would be the price under the Kumo and the Chiku under the Kumo. So there could be some fake out moves here, but I think Zcash is gonna go back down. So right now I shorted there. Since alts are way more volatile, I'm in profit right now, but I have my stop loss right at entry at this point in time. It's a break even. So basically, if it goes up and it takes me right away, I don't lose any money. So I'm not taking the profit, but I don't lose any money. Like I said, those are some of the things that I like to do. As soon as my profit is in trade, I always move my stop loss to break even. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it goes back up, it takes me out, and it goes back down. But I'm not gonna risk myself losing money, because if this shoots up and then I look over and I'm like 300% under negative, so nobody wants that, especially when you do high leverage. You're going to be my student? Awesome. I can't wait to have you. So BAT. Can we hold the XRP long? That's something that you need to decide. Like I said, BAT. So BAT. I have traded BAT so many times, and it has made me so much money. It's crazy. So you can see BAT here. So the Kumo is getting wider, which is great. The Tenkan and the Kijon are out now. Price is coming out too. So, but the Chiku is still here inside the Kumo, and it's probably going to be there for a little bit, but it's great actually. I would say with BAT, probably the invalidation is here. I would try to probably get exposure as close to the Kumo as is possible, because I know if we close under the Kumo, then the trend is over and I want to get out of it. So I would just patiently wait until the price, to see if the price finds supports at the Kumo. That's what I would do with BAT. In terms of Ripple, I talk about it too. It's like in no man's land right here, right now, and it has been like that like since April. So it's just fucking everyone. To be blunt and honest about it, I think it's going to move upwards. But right now, it's complicated, because if Bitcoin drops, then Ripple can break down too. So it's trickier than it looks. Probably I enter Ripple around this area. I'm still holding that position. I haven't traded Ripple recently. So I've been holding my position since we were like at 130. So right now, probably a good measure would be the Kumo here. So there it is. So right now, it's like inside that Kumo. This Kumo is green, which is nice for me. And the Chiku wants to pop above the price and maybe above the Kumo. So, I mean, if it goes down and it taps the bottom of that Kumo, which I think is going to happen, probably that would be a great place to enter, because if it breaks that and it starts to go down, then your invalidation is closed, so you don't risk that much money. But if that happens and it bounces from that Kumo, it finally breaks that and starts to trend up, probably it's going to have a good move. I would say around this area, which is 166. Let me see the weekly. Yeah, look where the Kijon is on the weekly. So it's right here. So right now the price is dealing with the Tenkan here. So I think if the price is able to close above the Tenkan and above the daily Kumo, I think it could push to 166, 176, something like that, and that'll be a decent trade. I think that has good potential, and the invalidation is close. So it's a decent, like I said, RR. So if you see here, let's say you buy it right there. So you get your invalidation by closing under the Kumo, and then your target one. Where is it? Like here, like here. So see, that's a 6-to-1 trade. It's a very good risk reward ratio. But again, something that you need to understand. Like I said, you need to understand how to manage your risk and how much you want to risk in order to make any trade. Well, I'm extending this too much, and I'm gonna be out of topics for the next stream. So H was crazy, man. H was like probably one of the best trades I have shared on Twitter in a long time. I literally told everyone on Twitter like buy, and it was on the daily, on the 4 hours, something like that. Yeah, it was right here when I shared this chart because exactly what I'm telling you. You see, some setups work, some don't, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why I shared this. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, I don't need indicators. I don't need to look at the fundamentals or anything. I mean, the price was poking out of the Kumo. The Kumo was turning green, and the Chico was about to get free. So I literally said like around 0.08, like I would not ignore H. And the buying volume here was massive. And look at that. I mean, that's beautiful. How much is that? I'm still holding on to that trade, by the way. So there's no point on me selling at this point in time. It's already 245% in profit, and I did this like with 10x leverage. So that's basically 2,400 profit for me. So do I have to get rid of this trade? I don't even need to sweat it because I don't mind giving away some profit until I find some confirmation. If I might short, I might close some percentage of it. I mean, there are 100 different ways to tackle this. But once the price gets under the Kumo and the Chico gets under the Kumo, I know it's time to close. And that's basically how I trade Ichimoku. Buy the breakout, close the breakdown. You profit from all of this movement. And then you wash, rinse, and repeat. On X, I said this yesterday, and it's one of my favorite tweets I have ever shared, was this one here. No, this one. The trader you want to become already exists. He's not smarter, not luckier, not better at reading charts. He just does the same boring thing 1,000 times in a row while everyone else is hunting the next holy grail. Be boring, compound. And this is what I do basically. I find the same setup over and over and over and over and over, and that's what I do. If something works, there's no need to get better. There's no need to get the pico bottom. There's no need to sell the pico top. You can leave that to all of the, you know, snake oil salesmen on Twitter, on X, that promote signals and stuff like that, or that they know what's going to happen. I mean, it's boring. But when you find a framework, an educated framework that works, all you need to do is repeat that over and over and over and over, and it's going to work every single time. It's what I did recently with Intel. Intel was the exact type of trade. Like H, it's the same trade. You see that accumulation, big volume. Trump announced the government thing, and I saw that it was turning bullish, and it was time to buy. So you buy there, and look at what happened. This one is how much already? I bought here around $20. This is 500% profit, and I'm still holding on to this trade. So it's just the same thing over and over. Wash, rinse, and repeat. Can you look at you? I gave you bong. I mean, you share these signals to your Discord also. Like I said, remember, guys, I don't do signals. I don't tell you what to buy, when to sell, or any stop loss. What I share on the Discord for the members is what I'm buying and the pulse of the market. For example, if I go to total two, which is not that one, right? Actually, I can show you here, because the funny thing is that I do share that on my X for free. all the time, because honestly, I want to teach people how to be traders, but I want to help people too. That's why I share all my dates and my trades and the things that I'm looking at here. So this is where am I. I'm going to show you something here. Okay, there you go. Hmm. So you can see it right here. So this is basically a screenshot from Discord. What I'm going to show you here. There's somewhere around. Where is it? It's not this one. Yeah, somewhere around here. Probably. Bear with me 1 second. There you go. This one here. So this is what I tell students on Discord. This is what I don't share on X. Like, I tell them, hey, we are in this geometrical formation. This is what I think is going to happen to total 2S. So we're going to, if we hold the 700 billion level, then we're going to get into a nice bull trend that can bring $100 billion to the market. And then you see the update here. See, we went down, we held the GAN fan, and we held the 700 billion, and we started just to trend up and up and up and up. Within that framework of total 2S, I told them, listen, I'm buying this and this and this and the other app and the other and the other and the other and the other. I share with them everything I'm buying. However, I'm not giving them financial advice and I'm not giving them signals. I just telling them what the coins I like based on the technicals. And that's what we do on Discord. If you don't share entries or stop loss, how do you learn in Discord how to take good trades? Well, that's a huge disconnection, because if you think to take a good trade depends of sharing the entry and the stop loss, then you're not sure what being a trader means. Being a trader is not knowing where the stop loss or the entry or the exit level is. Being a good trader is dependent of how good you are understanding risk management, timing, execution, discipline, composure, and patience. So you don't learn by getting stop losses or entries or exit levels or target. You learn by understanding all of those concepts. So if you truly understand them, and someone with a reliable system tells you, hey, you know what, this is a good trade to enter, then you should be able to understand how much you can risk, what's your invalidation level. And obviously, I always share that when people ask me on the Discord. If they go like, hey, Joe, what do you think would be a good support level for X or Y coin? And I will tell them based on Ichimoku or the Wavestand particle, hey, you know what? If this coin holds, I don't know, $70, that's a good level to enter. If it breaks that, that would be an invalidation and I will get out of the trade. I mean, I do share that kind of information because it is a technical question, but I don't do the others. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to go now. For real. Love you all. Thank you very much for coming. Please, if you like the video, I always laugh at people who say that on YouTube, but I understand now what it means. So if you like the video and you subscribe, then be more than happy to keep sharing these videos and talking to you guys every week. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate your time. And I hope you got something useful for your trading, adventure. And if you need anything or if you want to ask me anything, my DMs are always open. I always happy to help people, talk to you guys, guide you, mentor you, whatever it is. And looking forward to share with you the new tools and the new things that I'm gonna come up with. So see you around. This is Gold. Thank you very much, Owl. Take care, guys. See you around.